Welcome to the Health Hub. In this video, we are going to discuss why people experience hypertension, the primary mineral deficiency underlying this issue, accounting for 90% of cases, is essential hypertension. What does this mean? It refers to hypertension of unknown cause, which is convenient for drug companies selling medications for blood pressure. Antihypertensive medication is right at the top of the list as far as most prescribed medications in the world. First of all, let's define hypertension. Like, what is hypertension? What is blood pressure? Blood pressure, indicated by two numbers, consists of the top number, systolic, and the bottom number, diastolic. Ideally, blood pressure should be around 120/80. This number represents the contraction and relaxation of the heart muscle, which pushes blood throughout the body, including the capillaries, veins, and eventually to the lungs for oxygenation. The top number reflects the heart's contraction, while the bottom number represents its relaxation. Together, systolic and diastolic form a heartbeat. And when you have high blood pressure, there's some type of resistance going on. It could be a blockage, it can be a lot of things. But the point is that when you have any type of blood pressure issue, it puts more stress on the heart. There's a lot of research on the relationship between a potassium deficiency. Potassium deficiency is a significant factor in essential hypertension for a majority of individuals. Because most people are deficient in potassium. Why are they deficient? Because it's a bit hard to get potassium since the requirements are so high. Out of all the nutrients, potassium is the largest amount of nutrients that we need. We need 3,500 to 4,700 milligrams, and an average person does not get that much. And the other interesting thing about medicine is that the whole focus is to reduce sodium for hypertension, but what about enhancing potassium? They don't really talk about that. What does lowering sodium do? Well, it indirectly increases potassium. We need about half the amount of sodium to potassium. And I think these ratios are more important than the amounts. Many individuals have excessively high sodium and low potassium levels, with ratios as high as 3 times more sodium than potassium. However, understanding what potassium does for blood vessels in your heart is essential. It directly controls the tone of the vascular system, acting as a neurotransmitter for the autonomic nervous system. This connection is directly linked to situations of high blood pressure because when you're exerting yourself, such as running up a hill, adrenaline kicks in to raise blood pressure. Well, potassium lowers adrenaline attacks. Potassium helps support the layer of the inside of the artery called the endothelial layer. And potassium also helps improve insulin resistance. It makes insulin more sensitive. Additionally, there's a common misconception that potassium is harmful to the kidneys. That is completely false. Potassium is very, very healthy for the kidneys. It's protective of the kidneys. When you have advanced kidney disease like stage 4 or stage 5, that's when potassium can be dangerous. The next interesting thing, if you look at the top medications for blood pressure, they all retain potassium. Could it be that some of the positive effects of these blood pressures lowering medications could be because of the potassium effect? Now, where do we get our potassium from? Well, you can get it from salads, but you'd have to consume at least 7 to 10 cups to make a dent into this potassium requirement. And the average person only consumes like a cup of greens containing magnesium too. So the combination of both potassium and magnesium will greatly help the blood pressure. But when we consume refined foods, especially refined sugar, we lose potassium. When we increase adrenaline or cortisol, we lose potassium. I would recommend that you start to increase your potassium consumption through salads. Just try it for 1 week and see what happens to your blood pressure. If you can't seem to manage that much salad, then consider finding a good electrolyte powder rich in potassium, but it is important to check your potassium levels regularly through blood tests to see if you need potassium supplements. Talk to a healthcare provider to find out how much you need based on your health. I think you might be pleasantly surprised by all the amazing benefits. Potassium is one of the key factors to help restoring blood pressure. If you examine the symptoms of potassium deficiency, known as hypokalemia, one significant side effect is hypertension. Another important consideration is vitamin D. Vitamin D plays a crucial role in addressing issues with the autonomic nervous system. Many individuals with hypertension, particularly essential hypertension of unknown cause, often have deficiencies in either potassium or vitamin D. Simply by supplementing with vitamin D, you may find that it alleviates the issue. The next important thing, if you just think about insulin resistance in general, insulin resistance is a central component of metabolic syndrome, which encompasses hypertension, high blood glucose, fatty liver, and elevated levels of lipids such as LDL cholesterol. This strong correlation between insulin resistance and hypertension, particularly essential hypertension, underscores their interconnectedness. Imagine if it were widely promoted to cut back on sugar and carbs and switch to a low-carb diet. However, such measures are unlikely to be widely adopted because there's too much money tied to selling carbs and sugar. And these refined sugars and refined carbohydrates deplete your potassium. So based on what I just told you right now, increase your potassium, eat more vegetables, go on a low-carb diet, take vitamin D or get more sun. That should help you right there. Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful, please like, share and subscribe for more such inspired content.